Baseball is back, and at Team Toyota, savings and selection are back too. With tons of new Toyota SUVs, trucks, and hybrids to choose from, and with our lineup of over 200 certified used Toyotas, you can find the right fit for you and your budget. Plus, our service and collision centers are here to get you back in the game in no time. Visit one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, or Glen Mills, or online at teamtoyota.net.
Well, that was a fun one on this Thursday afternoon. Welcome into the Phillies Talk podcast. I am Spencer McKercher, joined by Corey Seidman, still down in Clearwater. Corey, the the timeline, I feel like you've been down there for like months, and I'm sure it's probably felt like that for you as well. But we continue.
There's no better place to be this time of year. This was another absolutely beautiful, picturesque day in Clearwater. Sold out crowd at Baker Ballpark. I mean, everybody down here is having a good time. I know the weather has gotten better back home, but I'm not going to be mad at missing all that snow that we got and those frigid temperatures in mid-February.
Yeah, last time we talked, it was 20 degrees. And now, we got up to 60s this past week, and it's slowly going to kind of deteriorate a little bit more. I'm hopefully getting out actually on the golf course with our good buddy Ricky Bowe this weekend. It's that nice up here. So let's talk about some baseball, huh? The last time we talked to you guys, the Phillies were just getting ready to start their spring training games, and now they are 2-2-1 as we sit here on Thursday, February 27th, after they tied the Yankees in kind of an exciting little ninth inning there today at Baker Ballpark against the Yanks. But to the big things, Johan Rojas at a home run. Zack Wheeler made his spring debut and looked great, and then some bullpen arms also looked fantastic, including Jordan Romano, who made his spring debut.
Yeah, so we'll start with Johan Rojas. I mean, a couple of us joked to each other in the press box after he hit the 2-run homer, like, oh, now it's going to make him want to swing for the fences all the time. But what was most impressive about Johan Rojas' 2-run homer to the opposite field on Thursday was that it was like a perfectly level swing. He wasn't trying to hit a homer. It was just one of those instances where he caught the ball with the sweet spot of the bat, and it went over the wall in right field. Rob Thompson was, gushing praise for Johan Rojas after the game, saying that he's really implemented some of the, shortening his swings, implemented some of the adjustments they wanted him to over the offseason. He's still a little bit away from making his first start of the spring in center field is Rojas. He's battling an arm injury right now, but his throwing program is going to begin later. What is this, Thursday? It's going to begin midweek next week, so you'll probably see him in a game in center field, maybe the end part of next week. But, yeah, that was a really good sign. And then even better signs from the Phillies pitching staff. Zack Wheeler looked like Zack Wheeler. You know what to expect. But even still, I mean, for him to come out throwing 95.9 miles per hour with his first fastball, that's 2 miles per hour harder than his first pitch a year ago in spring. Rob Thompson said it's probably the best first spring outing that he's seen out of Wheeler. And then the relievers behind him, Alvarado hit 101 and then 100. His cutter was 95 miles per hour, which is a pitch that averaged 93 a year ago. Talked to Jose Alvarado after he came out of the game. He was in a really good mood. He said that every time he goes out in the mound, he expects to see 100 because he works so hard, and that this offseason he adjusted his diet. He changed his eating habits, trading some of the rice and beans for protein and veggies. He looks a lot slimmer. I mean, I don't know how many pounds he's lost, but he looks like he's lost like 25, 30. And I asked Rob Thompson after the game, I said, like, even the previous condition Alvarado was in, he had great stretches. He was able to throw 100 miles per hour. So, like, what could better conditioning actually do for him? And Thompson's response is that when a guy's in better shape, he's better able to repeat his mechanics, repeat his delivery. It's something that helped Christopher Sanchez greatly last season, is that he increased, he put on muscle, and just the added bulk and the frame that he has was more conducive to being able to repeat his mechanics over the course of 180 innings. So good signs from Wheeler, good signs from Alvarado. Jordan Romano looked healthy, 96-98 with his fastball. Kind of a cool moment in the clubhouse, middle of the game. These guys, when they leave the game, they go back into the clubhouse, the relievers. They don't sit in the dugout the rest of the way. But Romano and Alvarado saw each other in the clubhouse as the game's still going on, like the 6th inning or so. And Romano looks at Alvarado and goes, "Seriously, game 1?" Like implying like you have that velocity in game 1 of spring training. And they were both laughing about it. But yeah, definitely good signs from some really important relievers for the Phillies.
And that's so good to hear too. We heard Kyle Schwarber kind of talk about on the broadcast, I guess last Sunday was the first broadcast on our air, and T-Mac and Ruben talked to to Kyle in the dugout, and Kyle was talking about kind of implementing these new guys and how, kind of setting expectations, but also just learning from them as well. And sounded like Jose and Romano already have a chemistry, and I'm sure all those bullpen guys do. We talked in the last few pods about Strom and Romano being pitching partners now, and when they're throwing out, just warming up and having fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at just pitches and strikes too. Wheeler, 30 pitches, 18 of them strikes. Strom, 20 for 12. Jose was 11 for 7. Romano, 17 for 10 strikes. Kerkering, 12 pitches, 11 strikes. I mean, that's what you want to see from this bullpen, and people have been kind of, I don't know, not really worried about it, I guess, but it is a different bullpen to a point than last year. You don't have, at this point last year, you had Sir Anthony Dominguez and Gregory Soto and Jeff Hoffman. All those guys are gone now. And some of these guys, this is a big outing. And it was great to see Romano kind of touch 96, 98. That was impressive for him.
Well, yeah, because they need Romano to be able to step in and be like as good as Hoffman or Estevez was. And,
correct.
You get fans get attached to players when they see them a lot, but like, do you realize that Jordan Romano from 2020 to 2023 had the exact same ERA that Jeff Hoffman had the last 2 years?
It's wild.
Romano was 2.29 over that 4-year span. Hoffman was 2.28 over the last 2 years. So, like, Romano was every bit as good over those 4 years as Hoffman was for the Phillies last season. There's, a real possibility that he could step into that role and be like the guy that the Phillies expect him and need him to be in place of Hoffman. The Phillies have been hesitant to name a closer under their last 3 managers. Maybe if someone seizes the role early, that could change. But, for Alvarado as well, Alvarado kind of struggled from mid-June on last season, really from London through the rest of the regular season. Alvarado wasn't as good as he had been in prior years, a 1.74 ERA in 2023, then a 4.09 ERA last season. And Jose said that he went back and this offseason, he watched some film from the second half of 2022 to try to, see what his mechanics look like, see what his pitch shapes look like, to try to remind himself of what it was when he was at his very best. But yeah, I mean, it's a crucial year for a lot of different guys. Romano, signed a 1-year contract to help reestablish free agent value for a year from now. There's someone like Alvarado who has a team option in 2026. So in a way, it's a walk year almost for him. He's pitching to entice the Phillies to pick up that team option. But, good pitching signs, good offensive signs. Buddy Kennedy also got another day in left field, which, it sounds kind of unimportant, but the final spot on the Phillies bench is up for grabs, and they need a right-handed option with Weston Wilson out. So a lot of different things we're paying attention to, even when the starters come out of the games.
And real quick, I guess we'll touch on that real fast. I know you tweeted it out over the weekend. Just the Weston Wilson, for anybody that doesn't know, Weston Wilson, the oblique injury, how'd that happen? Just in swinging in the cages?
Yeah, so the final swing that Weston Wilson took before live batting practice last Friday, it was before the Phillies spring training schedule began, he suffered a grade 2 strain of his left oblique. So he's going to be out 6 weeks, might be 5 more weeks from now because the injury took place last week at this point. But beyond being crushing for Weston Wilson, who was hoping to make his first opening day roster, the Phillies just really have so few right-handed hitting outfielders. They have Johan Rojas, they have Oscar Mercado, who's in camp as a non-roster invitee. They have Buddy Kennedy, who they're getting out to play some left field, but he really doesn't have much experience in left field yet. Christian Arroyo, who homered. He's had some good at-bats here early in camp. Yeah, he's more of an infielder, first, second, third base, but he might get a spell out in left field at some point. But it could also be a situation where the Phillies make a move later in camp, add a guy that gets released or falls out of favor with another team, just because you need another right-handed option. What happens if Max Kepler doesn't hit lefties early in the season? It was really promising actually that on Thursday, Brandon Marsh had 3 high-quality at-bats against lefties. One of them was a double to the opposite field.
Yeah.
The Phillies just need one of those guys, Marsh or Kepler, to be able to hold their own against lefties, because you don't want to be running multiple platoons in the outfield.
You for sure don't. Yeah. So that's the quick update on Weston. Speaking of injuries, the Phillies avoided a big one yesterday in Dunedin. It was one of those, I feel like I've seen that same pitch go up and into Bryce so many times. And I know you asked Rod Thompson yesterday, is that just something a left on left kind of thing? Still scary. And I know Bryce really does not like those up and ins. We saw it last year when he got plunked in San Francisco. It ended up kind of starting a little benches clearing incident, nothing too major, but I mean, I remember seeing Alec Boehm screaming from the on deck circle. But yeah, Bryce avoided injury. It sounded like just, little tricep contusion. But yeah, I saw your tweet too here from a little bit ago. He'll be in the lineup on Friday along with Turner, Bohm, Stott, Real Muto as Jesus gets the start. But yeah, man, thank goodness Bryce is okay, because I know he doesn't like that. And I know Phillies fans didn't like seeing him getting plunked in his first game of the spring?
That was his first game of the spring. So Harper, the only reason he was even playing in Wednesday's game in Dunedin was because Monday was rained out against the Pirates. So he was supposed to be in Monday's lineup at home. The game gets rained out. Tuesday was in Port Charlotte, which is a really far drive. It's like 2 hours. Veterans don't make those trips in spring training. So now it's like, all right, now you need to get Harper into a game. So they got him into a game Wednesday in Dunedin. It's just a short trip, 10, 15-minute drive from Clearwater. Harper went. A lot of the Phillies regulars went. They played 6 innings. Top of the 6th inning, Harper gets plunked by that pitch. And you're right. There have been so many times now where Harper has had these scary situations. So his first spring training with the Phillies, his fourth game, Trent Thornton, the Blue Jays right-hander, they threw a 96-mile-per-hour fastball that hit him in the ankle. And I remember because I was just leaving Clearwater like 10 minutes before Harper got hit by the pitch. I was leaving to go to the airport to come back home, and I see that Bryce Harper gets hit, removed from the game. You're thinking like, oh, my goodness, what just happened? He was okay, though. But then, the Genesis Cabrera hits him in the face with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball. Blake Snell hits him in the left thumb, breaks his thumb with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. And then the Richard Lovelady 92-mile-per-hour fastball that hits him in the right triceps. So, part of it is that he's a great hitter, and a way to combat great hitters is to throw up and in, chin music, I think that the frustrating part of it is that at spring training, there were 2 different times that the Blue Jays brought in a lefty in the middle of an inning to face Harper. Like, what are we doing? Is it the NL? Is it the World Series? Is it, crunch time here where teams need to win? So I think that was more so. And Harper's frustration is that, like, if you have high velocity and you're at this level, you should be able to command it. You should be able to control it. His comment over the last couple of years is like, it's not fun. It's not fun getting hit in the face. And you got to give him so much credit for, like, just putting it out of his mind. Like, you almost break your face and then you break your thumb the next year, and yet still you're able to go up there and hit for as much power and take those pitches inside and not bail out, So definitely a crisis averted for the Phillies with Harper, and he will be in Friday's lineup. Rob Thompson has said that he wants to, as much as he can this spring, keep all the infielders in the lineup together. So, like, when Harper plays, you'll see all of Real Muto, Stott, Bohm, Turner. And that also means that, like, some of the outfielders probably won't play on Friday. But, also at first base, someone else to talk about. Kyle Schwarber played first base.
I was just about to, I was gonna bring that up at some point here. Yeah. Real quick on Bryce too. Yeah. It's so funny that you remember Thornton's name. I feel like we posted a video. I think we sent a camera in there and talked to him right after. And the poor kid, like, almost in tears, not in tears, but he was really upset because he became enemy number 1 in Philadelphia right when he hit Bryce in the first few games as a Philadelphia Philly in spring training. And and then, I mean, the Cabrera one too in St. Louis, obviously Bryce was out for quite a long time and then still came back and won MVP then. So,
and the Snell one cost him 2 months. So it's like, it's just, all it takes is one errant pitch to totally change a player's season and to totally change a team season,
Yeah. And knock on wood, I thought about it today. We were talking about it here in the office. I mean, I still have like PTSD about Reese, when he just tore his ACL in a spring training game. And it's just like, man, I get these guys want to get action and all that stuff. It does not do with that. But just the thought of someone being hurt in spring training just scares me. And hopefully the Phillies can, and it's, it's part of life, it's part of sports and all that. So hopefully the Phillies can stay healthy. But real quick, let's transition. I'm glad you brought that up because we were going to talk about it. Good old Kyle Schwarber at first base. Didn't really have a good day at the plate. I think he had 2 strikeouts and 3 at-bats, but how was he at first? I didn't get to watch too much of the game, other things going on here at the office, but did he look okay? Did he get any balls, obviously?
Nah, so Schwarber didn't get any defensive chances other than just, throws across the infield to first base. But it was pretty funny talking to some of these guys. Like, we asked Zack Wheeler, what'd you think of him? He said, solid. I thought he had some really good throws across the infield, throwing it around the horn. Rob Thompson's comment was, I really liked his route running out to first base, from the dugout to first base. But Kyle Schwarber, He's taking this seriously. He's been working with Bobby Dickerson a lot. He actually said that he's gained newfound respect for Bobby Dickerson because, like, from afar, he had seen the way that Dickerson works with the Phillies infielders, but until you actually work with a coach every day, I guess you don't really know what they have to offer. And all the different drills that he's done with Schwarber this spring have, helped Schwarber feel like he's in better position if he has to play that position. 2021, the Red Sox traded for Schwarber. He was coming off the IL. The Red Sox tried to put him at first base. He hadn't played there since his senior year of high school. Felt very uncomfortable, but he tried to make it work. They gave him a crash course, and he tried to make it work. The difference this time is he has a whole spring. And his comment today was, doing this in the spring gives you the opportunity to screw up because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he makes an error, or if he throws a ball into left field trying to throw it to second base, or if he misses a cutoff assignment. This is the time of year to do that. You might only see Schwarber at first base a couple times if at all, in 2025, but the Phillies are trying to do this because it gives them more options. If Harper needs a DH day, if Harper needs a day off. Edmundo Sosa also started in left field on Thursday. And to me, that's the much more important defensive versatility wrinkle here, because we just talked a few minutes ago about the Phillies needing the right-handed hitting outfielder with the Wilson injury. If Edmundo Sosa can take to left field and center field, which he's going to play both of those positions this spring, that might be your right-handed answer, because he's an actual threat against lefties. He had like an 860 OPS against lefties last season, whereas Johan Rojas is just like a right-handed hitter who you hope can, produce a little bit at the plate. But yeah, Sosa might be the answer to that corner outfield right-handed bat if he can, adequately play left field and center field this spring. And I think he can. I mean, he's a really good defensive player, versatile, plays a bunch of different positions. So that's another thing to keep an eye on as well.
And he's had some good at bats so far this spring too. He's 3 for 8. He had an RBI today. He's 3 RBIs in the spring so far. It's good to see. And I feel like some of the games, it's every time we see something, it's like, oh, Edmundo Sosa RBI double or something like that. So it's good to see him. But yeah, man. So there's been some good things. Obviously, the rain out kind of stunk on Monday. I was really looking forward to seeing Paul Skeens against, it was the big lineup. And obviously we talked about it offline, but that was the first lineup that we saw where Trey Turner was leading off, Kyle Schwarber was batting second, and it could have been a big lineup change that everyone's been looking for since Rob Thompson has took over. Yeah, moving forward, I guess just some of the prospects that you've seen so far. We've seen Aiden Miller in games. I know he had a few ground outs yesterday against the Blue Jays. I know he didn't start today, but he looked okay, and Justin Crawford as well. I know the clip that was kind of going around was him stealing second, and he's got wheels, man. Crawford has some wheels. What have you seen from some of the top prospects, including a name that Phillies fans might need to get used to? It's not a right-handed outfield bat, but it is a left-handed outfield bat, and that's Gabriel Rincones. Yeah,
Gabriel Rincones Jr. has shown a powerful left-handed swing so far in spring training. It looks like the swing of like a major league power hitter. Now, I don't know if he's going to be like an everyday player or anything like that. He might like his ceiling might be like platoon corner outfielder, which that's fine. I mean, organizations need that. He's going to turn 24 soon. He was a 3rd round pick a couple years ago out of Florida Atlantic. He's had ups and downs, mostly injury related, has Rincones, but the Phillies really like his power. And it's just a name to keep in the back of your mind, like next year or potentially like later this year if he produces and the need arises. The thing is, though, is that like you just mentioned, the Phillies have so many left-handed hitting outfielders, Marsh, Kepler, like a Cody Clemens, like some of the secondary outfielders. So the spot really isn't directly right there yet for Rincones, but definitely, someone who's making an impact early in spring. These results don't matter for veterans, but they matter for guys like that who are trying to, make a mark and show what they've got. Aiden Miller's gotten a chance to play a lot here in the early going of camp as the veterans are sitting more. And Justin Crawford has really stuck out to me in terms of his speed using the opposite field. Last weekend, Saturday, he hit the hardest ball of the game for the Phillies in Lakeland against the Tigers. And then the next day poked a opposite field double, I think, and then he scored on a Rincones homer. So you're kind of seeing like the leadoff skill set of a Justin Crawford. He has speed. He has the ability to use the opposite field. And the Phillies are just hoping that, as he grows into his body, that he hits for more power. But if not, he's going to be a guy that you could potentially bat at the top of a lineup as long as he shows selectivity and, the ability to put bat to ball. But I think the Phillies are liking so far what they've seen out of Miller and Crawford, not just how they've performed on the field, but also like how they've handled themselves in the clubhouse. They're not walking around like a couple of nervous kids, especially Crawford. I mean, Crawford walks around, maybe because he's like a big guy, but to me, he looks like a big leaguer, and he's probably going to be a big leaguer in a few years.
I hope so. That would be great. And I know Phillies fans are kind of clamoring for some of these young guys to get up. I don't know if, who knows when we'll see him. Might not be this year, might not be next year. Could be next year. We'll see. But in terms of, I think I saw some comments about Brandon Marsh and what his comments on Justin Crawford, just talking about, even if he didn't have that Crawford last name, he's still just a guy that comes across, like you said, not somebody that's like a nervous kid. He knows he should be there. He knows that it's an honor to be in this big league camp. Same with Miller. I thought Miller's comments when he spoke to the media, last week, I guess, I thought they were really, really cool, right? He wants to get to Philly as quick as possible, but understands where he is right now. Trying to learn from Bryce Harper, learn from some of these other guys, learn from Trey Turner, just on how to go, to be a big league player and as a person as well. So it's good to see. But looking forward to seeing Jesus on the mound tomorrow. Should be fun. It is on our air, as you mentioned earlier, NBC Sports Philadelphia plus 1 o'clock against the Red Sox. And I believe you said they're set to face Crochet, yeah?
Yeah, and that'll be a good pitching matchup because, the Phillies were linked to Garrett Crochet quite a bit over the last 2 seasons. And then they ended up getting Jesus Luzardo for much less than what the Red Sox paid to acquire Crochet. I personally think that we'll see how the next 2 years go, but I think the Phillies made the better move. They had to trade a good prospect in Starlene Caba in order to get Jesus Luzardo. But when you look at what the Red Sox gave up to get Garrett Crochet, who doesn't have that long of a track record, I think the Phillies might, a couple of years from now, be looking back and think they made the right decision. But we'll see. It all has to take place on the field. So
I hope so. Again, when we do our season prediction pod, I have a bold prediction for old Jesus Luzardo. That's what we call a tease in this business, tease. Baby. A little tease. All right. Just to wrap up, too. Obviously, you've been down there forever. Still, what's your favorite restaurant? Tell our listeners.
I'm a Frenchie's guy. The Cajun scallops and grouper from Frenchie's. I can eat that like 20 days in a row. So
there's so many good restaurants down there. Frenchie's is up there. If my buddy's listening to this, I got to shout out to the Palm Pavilion. It's the best down there. But dude, hopefully we'll see you down there shortly. I think we're trying to finalize some things. Keep an eye out for a possible live Q&A here in March as well. That's, again, a little tease there, So. Okay. But we'll talk to you guys soon, probably next week after these few games this weekend. Don't forget Phillies Red Sox tomorrow on NBC Sports Philadelphia on Friday. Jesus Luzardo, Garrett Crochet, and I think like Corey said, I like the Luzardo move better than the Crochet.
And the regular season is not too far away. We're sitting
a month from today, baby.
We're sitting here. It's February 27th. We're only about a month away from real baseball. So coming fast.
That's a wild thought. Starting in Washington against the Nationals that Thursday, exactly 1 month from today. Well, February is a weird month, so whatever exactly it is. But until we'll definitely talk to you guys before then. But until next time, for Corey, I'm Spencer McKercher. Talk to you guys soon.